Here's one of the spookiest places in Oregon. Hi, I'm here to tell you about the Shanghai tunnels. These underground passageways are located in a basement beneath an old brick building in the Chinatown neighborhood of Portland, Oregon. Back in the mid-1800s, this was the epicenter for trade between China and the United States. But it was also a hotspot for nefarious activity, especially in these dark, narrow tunnels. It's because they were used to kidnap men and sell them into slavery. The tunnels consisted of a series of passageways that ran beneath several blocks of J, N, and 12th Avenue. They were just barely wide enough for a person to squeeze through, and were so narrow that most people had to crawl on their hands and knees to get through them. At certain points, the tunnels were also flooded, making the journey even more difficult. There were also several trapdoors along the route that would allow the kidnappers to access the tunnels from above. These were usually located in the kitchens of unsuspecting restaurants or businesses. It's said that the only light you would see down in these tunnels would be a faint glimmer from the mouths of the kidnappers and their victims. Because the tunnels were so dark and dank, many of the kidnapped men died on the way to their destination. Sometimes they would die from exhaustion, other times from drowning, and sometimes they would simply vanish and never be seen again. Many of the men who were taken were sent to work on the railroads where they were paid very little, if anything, for their labor. Others were sold to work in factories or mines. Sadly, some of them were destined for something much worse. You see, the fortune seekers who came to Portland's Chinatown looking to strike it rich often found themselves kidnapped and sold into sexual slavery. These days, the tunnels are still there, but they're covered over and sealed off to the public. However, visitors have reported hearing strange noises coming from the tunnels, including moaning, chains rattling, and phantom footsteps. It's said that if you listen closely, you can still hear the cries of the victims as they were being dragged through the tunnels and taken away forever. One local legend says that the ghost of a young woman named Lily is trapped down in the tunnels. She was supposedly kidnapped and thrown into the river after being raped by one of the fortune seekers. Another story tells of a man who came through the tunnels with a lantern, only to have it extinguished by an unseen force, plunging him into total darkness. Some say he was never seen again, while others claim his bones were discovered near one of the tunnel entrances. Author and historian Robert W. Weekley wrote a book called The Secret History of Portland's Chinatown, and in it, he describes the tunnels as being, quote, labyrinth of tunnels sitting just below street level. He goes on to say that, quote, there were places where you could stand up and walk, but in most areas you had to crawl, and at times you had to go through water. Weekley also explains that the tunnels were used for more than just nefarious activities. Merchants would also use the tunnels to sneak in and out of their shops late at night when they were being robbed, and sometimes they were used as a convenient place to store merchandise. In the 1920s, the city of Portland decided to take over the tunnels and turn them into a public bathroom. But after a few years, they realized that this was not the best use of space, and they closed the tunnels off to the public. They then filled the tunnels with debris and covered over the entrances, so that no one could get in or out. But if you know where to look, you can still find some of the entrances to the tunnels today. One is located beneath the Oregon Historical Society building at 12th and J. Another one is located behind the Red Dragon restaurant on 11th, and yet another one is located beneath the ground floor apartment of 620 NJ Avenue. Sadly, we may never know the full extent of what went on down in those tunnels, but the stories that have been passed down to us are enough to make anyone's blood run cold. Thanks for watching.
Oh.
Do you dare explore the tunnels of Portland's Chinatown? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're there, be sure to like and subscribe for more spooky stories. I'll see you next time.